The galaxy had known peace for decades, fragile but persistent. Trade routes thrived, colonies expanded, and the various star systems maintained a wary but workable alliance. Yet that calm was shattered abruptly when a terrifying new menace surfaced from the unexplored outer reaches of space. A mysterious alien armada, known only as the Qatar Dominion, began a brutal campaign of raids and destruction against frontier colonies. The Qatar ships were unlike anything the galactic forces had encountered before. Their vessels were sleek, heavily armored, and equipped with devastating plasma-based weaponry that could melt through conventional shields in seconds. The Dominion's tactics were ruthless and efficient. They struck swiftly, crippling planetary defenses and then vanishing into the void before reinforcements could arrive. Each attack sent shockwaves of fear and panic rippling through the galactic government and civilian populations alike. In response, the Galactic Council authorized a massive military mobilization. At the forefront of the response was an elite fleet of hunter ships, state-of-the-art warships designed specifically for tracking and annihilating high-value targets in hostile space. These ships were piloted by the best crews in the galaxy, trained to operate with precision and discipline under pressure. The Hunter fleet's mission was clear: locate the Qatar flagship, believed to be the command center of the alien armada, and destroy it before the Dominion could extend its terror further. This flagship, dubbed the Obsidian Talon, had so far eluded all attempts at engagement, moving with a combination of stealth technology and sheer firepower that made it nearly untouchable. After weeks of intelligence gathering and small skirmishes, with Qatar scout vessels, the Hunter ships finally cornered the Obsidian Talon in a dense star system near a volatile nebula. The blockade was a masterclass in strategy. The Hunter ships formed a near-impenetrable ring around the alien flagship, cutting off all possible escape routes. Communication between the Hunter captains was constant, sharing sensor data and coordinating attack patterns to ensure the alien vessel remained trapped. Despite the overwhelming firepower and tactical advantage, the Obsidian Talon did not surrender. Instead, the Qatar prepared for a decisive battle, activating advanced defensive shields and deploying swarms of drone fighters to harass the blockade. The atmosphere on the Hunter ships was tense. Every captain knew that if the flagship slipped through, countless more lives would be lost to the Dominion's relentless raids. Meanwhile, among the Hunter captains, rumors began circulating about a human pilot who had recently requested permission to join the operation. Humans were known throughout the galaxy for their unpredictability and unconventional tactics, qualities that could be either an asset or a liability in such a critical mission. The human's reputation preceded him, Captain Kalen Rice, a maverick with a history of bending rules and surviving impossible odds. As the Hunter fleet tightened their grip, the stage was set for a confrontation that would test the limits of strategy, courage, and the indomitable will to protect the galaxy from an alien inferno. The Obsidian Talon's final stand was imminent, and the arrival of a human pilot would change everything. The tension across the Hunter fleet was palpable. As the blockade around the Qatar flagship, the Obsidian Talon tightened. Every captain aboard their sleek, formidable warships braced for the inevitable battle. Yet whispers circulated in the command channels about an unexpected arrival, a lone human pilot who had volunteered to join the mission at the last moment. Captain Kalen Rice was something of a legend among those who followed galactic military affairs. Where most pilots relied on sheer firepower and rigid formations, Kalen's reputation was built on audacity, unpredictability, and an uncanny ability to think several steps ahead of his enemies. Some saw him as reckless, a wild card who might endanger the fleet's careful plans. Others believed his unorthodox style could be exactly what was needed against the Qatar. Kalen's ship, the Inferno, was a stark contrast to the sleek, standardized Hunter ships. It was a heavily modified fighter, patched with salvaged tech from various battles and equipped with experimental weaponry no other pilot dared to use. The Inferno had a distinctive crimson hull streaked with scorch marks and battle scars, a physical testament to its pilot's tenacity and survival skills. As Kalen entered the command network, his voice was clear and confident. "I'm here to finish this," he announced, cutting through the cautious chatter. I don't follow your protocols. I don't want to play it safe. I'm here to burn them down. The other commanders exchanged wary glances. Captain Lyra Vex, the fleet's tactical leader, responded sharply. This is a coordinated operation. Your reckless approach could jeopardize the entire blockade. Kalen simply smirked, replying, Sometimes you need to shake the fire to burn away the rust. Watch and learn. Despite the skepticism, the fleet had no time to refuse extra firepower. Kalen was granted limited freedom to engage the enemy on his own terms, an unusual concession that raised eyebrows but was fueled by desperation. Slipping through the dense starfield, the Inferno darted toward the Obsidian Talon. The alien flagships. Sensors flickered in confusion as Kalen's ship defied expected attack patterns. Instead of a predictable assault, Kalen executed erratic maneuvers, weaving through Qatar drone swarms and enemy fire with a dancer's grace and a gambler's nerve. His unconventional tactics created openings no hunter ship had managed to exploit. For the first time, cracks appeared in the Dominion's impenetrable defense. Kalen's weapons, plasma torches, mini-missile barrages, and most importantly, a secret payload of plasma drones, began to chip away at the alien flagship's armor. Within the fleet, some commanders grudgingly admired Kalen's audacity, while others worried about the long-term consequences. Was this human pilot a reckless firebrand who might ignite disaster, or a desperate hero who could bring salvation? Meanwhile, Kalen's mind raced. He knew the Obsidian Talon was unlike any enemy he had faced before, but he also understood that conventional tactics would only delay the inevitable defeat. He had a plan that went beyond mere firepower, one that would turn the battle into an inferno no alien could withstand. As the hunter ships prepared for a full assault, Kalen's arrival marked a turning point. The question was no longer whether the blockade would hold, but if the galaxy was ready for a human to bring fire to the void. The space around the Obsidian Talon crackled with energy as the hunter fleet braced for the inevitable confrontation. The alien flagship, once an untouchable fortress of plasma and steel, now faced an unprecedented threat. Captain Kalen Rice and his modified fighter, the Inferno. His arrival had injected an unpredictable element into the carefully orchestrated blockade, and both friend and foe were keenly aware that this battle would be unlike any before. Kalen wasted no time. His first strike was swift and chaotic, maneuvers no conventional pilot would dare attempt. Zigzagging through the swarm of drone fighters that shielded the Obsidian Talon, the Inferno darted dangerously close to the flagship's hull, delivering plasma torches that seared the alien ship's outer armor. The impact was immediate. Scorch marks blossomed across the sleek surface, evidence that the humans' unconventional tactics could penetrate the Dominion's defenses. The Qatar retaliated fiercely. Automated turrets unleashed searing bolts of plasma, while drone swarms swarmed like metallic hornets attempting to overwhelm Kalen's solitary fighter. The Inferno shuddered under the assault, alarms flashing as systems strained against the relentless bombardment. But Kalen was no ordinary pilot. His instincts, honed from years of surviving impossible battles, allowed him to anticipate enemy fire, twisting and spinning with near-superhuman precision. Amidst the chaos, the hunter ships tried to adapt to Kalen's erratic style. Traditional formations broke down as the fleet scrambled to protect the lone fighter while exploiting the breaches he created. Communication was frantic but effective. Kalen's audacity was fracturing the alien defense line. As the battle escalated, Kalen unleashed his secret weapon, a swarm of plasma drones launched from the belly of the Inferno. These tiny, fiery machines darted forward in a coordinated dance, weaving through enemy shields and slicing into the Obsidian Talon's vital systems. The flagship's energy cores flared erratically as the drones disrupted power flows and ignited internal fires. The impact was devastating. The alien flagship's shield weakened, its movement slowed, and panic rippled through the Dominion's ranks. Yet the Obsidian Talon was far from defeated. The Qatar deployed their deadliest countermeasure, a devastating plasma storm designed to engulf any attacker in a swirling inferno of energy. Kalen's ship was caught in the storm's heart. Systems overloaded. The Inferno rocked violently as the plasma storm threatened to rip it apart. For a moment, It seemed the human pilot had finally met his match. But Kalen's resolve was unshakable. With expert precision, he powered up the Inferno's emergency thrusters, riding the edge of destruction like a surfer on a cosmic wave. Against all odds, he emerged from the storm battered but operational, his plasma drones still swarming toward the flagship. The hunter ships seized the opportunity, pressing their attack as the Obsidian Talon struggled to recover. For the first time, the alien flagship's impenetrable facade cracked. Systems sparked and hull breaches appeared while the Dominion's forces scrambled to contain the damage. Across the fleet, commanders exchanged looks of disbelief and cautious hope. Kalen Rice, the reckless human, had proven that the Qatar's invincibility was a myth, but the battle was far from over. The Obsidian Talon was wounded, not defeated. And Kalen's wild assault had only just begun to unleash the inferno that could turn the tide of this galactic war. The space battlefield was ablaze, both literally and figuratively, as Kalen Rice's bold attack unsettled the Qatar dominions. Flagship. The Obsidian Talon, once a symbol of alien supremacy and invincibility, now showed signs of strain. The plasma drones from Kalen's Inferno swarmed like fiery embers, igniting internal systems and spreading chaos among the alien crew. With the flagship's shields weakened, the hunter ships seized the moment. They shifted from a defensive blockade to a full-scale assault. Their heavy cannons, previously held in reserve, unleashed torrents of firepower against the vulnerable vessel. Explosions blossomed along the hull, fragments of alien technology, and plasma debris scattering into the void. The atmosphere aboard the hunter fleet surged with newfound energy. Human pilots, inspired by Kalen's fearless approach, began pushing their limits. The previously rigid formations dissolved into a coordinated frenzy of attack runs, dogfights, and daring maneuvers. The human pilot's willingness to risk everything injected a ferocity and unpredictability that the aliens struggled to counter. Kalen himself was at the heart of the Inferno. Maneuvering through the chaos with lethal grace, he directed his plasma drones with precision, targeting weak points and disabling the flagship's engines and weapon systems one by one. His tactics were not just about firepower, they were about control and disruption. The Obsidian Talon was no longer a fortress, it was a burning hive, losing cohesion with every strike. The Qatar Dominion's desperation grew. They unleashed swarms of faster, deadlier drones attempting to overwhelm Kalen and the supporting hunter ships. However, the human-led attack had fractured the alien coordination. Communications between Qatar ships became erratic, their tactical responses slower and less effective. Despite the assault, the Obsidian Talon retaliated fiercely. Plasma beams cut swaths through hunter ships, and entire squadrons were forced into retreat or repair. The flagship's captain, a ruthless warlord named Vraxthul, vowed to fight to the last breath, believing surrender to be dishonor. Yet the inferno kept growing. Kalen, fully aware of the stakes, launched his final gambit. A concentrated plasma storm unleashed from the Inferno's core weapon systems. Unlike the earlier storm deployed by the aliens, this was a controlled, targeted blaze meant to cripple and disorient. The plasma storm tore through the alien flagship's damaged systems, setting off cascading failures and triggering chain reactions in the energy cores. The flagship shuddered violently, its movements faltering. The Qatar crew scrambled desperately to contain fires and maintain control, but the inferno raged within their own vessel. The hunter ships pressed their attack relentlessly, using every advantage Kalen's tactics had created. At the fleet command center, Captain Lyravex allowed herself a rare smile. Kalen's reckless courage had transformed the battle's momentum. What seemed an impossible siege was now within reach of victory. Amid the firefight, Kalen's voice echoed through the comm channels, calm, resolute, and fiercely determined. This ends now. No more running, no more hiding. We bring the fire, and we bring the fight. The alien flagship was burning, inside and out, and the inferno had truly ignited. The Obsidian Talon was a wounded giant, crippled but not yet defeated. Fires raged through its inner compartments, and its shield generators flickered in and out of operation. The Qatar Dominion's command crew, desperate and furious, made a bold decision. Escape was the only option to preserve what remained of their fleet. The alien flagship prepared for a high-risk jump through a nearby nebula known as the Veil of Shadows, a treacherous, storm-ridden region of space dense with plasma storms, gravitational anomalies, and radiation spikes. Few dared to navigate it, but the Qatar were betting on the danger to deter pursuit. Kalen Rice and the Hunter fleet were not about to let the Obsidian Talon slip away. The human captain, already battered but unyielding, led the charge in pursuit. The Inferno surged forward, plasma thrusters flaring as Kalen expertly piloted through the hazardous nebula's shifting currents and lethal energy bursts. The Hunter ships followed closely behind, navigating with painstaking precision through the Veil's deadly hazards. Communication between the ships was tight, coordinated to avoid the nebula's dangers while maintaining relentless pressure on the fleeing flagship. The chase was like a deadly ballet, a combination of lightning-fast maneuvers and calculated risks. Within the nebula, Kalen's experience and instincts gave him an edge. Years of surviving Deathworld skirmishes and hostile environments had honed his reflexes and judgment. He understood the nebula's chaotic nature, using gravitational eddies and plasma flows as cover, masking his movements from Qatar sensors and creating opportunities to strike. As the chase progressed, Kalen devised a daring plan. He realized the nebula's volatile energy could be weaponized. Leading the Inferno deeper into a plasma storm cluster, Kalen baited the Obsidian Talon into following him into the heart of the tempest. The flagship, desperate to escape, pursued recklessly. At the climax, Kalen triggered a chain reaction. The plasma storm's energy surged, interacting violently with the damaged flagship's unstable power cores. A massive explosion rocked the nebula, engulfing the Obsidian Talon in a fiery blast that disabled its engines and crippled its systems. The Hunter ship seized the moment. With the flagship slowed and vulnerable, the fleet tightened the noose. Coordinated volleys of plasma and missile strikes hammered the alien vessel, while fighter squadrons swarmed to prevent any escape pods or reinforcements. In a final act of defiance, the Qatar warlord Vraxthol ordered a last-ditch plasma barrage that scorched several Hunter ships, but failed to break the encirclement. Kalen, undeterred, piloted the Inferno through debris and fire to deliver a decisive strike. A plasma lance shot directly into the flagship's core reactor, igniting an inferno that tore through the alien ship's heart. The flagship's systems failed catastrophically. Lights flickered and died. The hull fractured and ruptured. The Obsidian Talon was finished. As silence fell over the nebula, the Hunter fleet regrouped. Kalen's reckless courage and tactical genius had turned the tide of the battle. The alien threat that had terrified the galaxy was broken. Yet even in victory, Kalen's gaze was distant. He knew this war was far from over. The galaxy had seen a new kind of fire, a human inferno, and there were other shadows lurking beyond the stars, waiting for their chance. The battle was over. The Obsidian Talon lay in ruins amid the glowing plasma clouds of the Veil of Shadows. The Hunter fleet, exhausted but victorious, drifted through the remnants of the battlefield. For the first time in years, a chilling silence replaced the relentless crackle of war. Captain Kalen Rice sat in the cockpit of the Inferno, his crimson ship battered but intact. Around him, the fleet's communications channels buzzed with relief and celebration. Yet beneath the surface was a tension only Kalen could sense, a sense that the Inferno he had unleashed was just the beginning of a much larger conflict. Back on the fleet's command ship, Captain Lyra Vex addressed the assembled commanders. "This victory is monumental," she said, her voice steady but tinged with caution. "The Qatar Dominion's flagship is destroyed, but their forces are scattered. We must be ready for retaliation." The fleet began its cleanup operations, rescuing survivors, salvaging technology, and securing the nebula. Yet Kalen's thoughts were already far beyond the immediate aftermath. The Inferno he had ignited was a beacon, a declaration that humanity was no longer the underdog, but a force to be reckoned with. Kalen reviewed the battle logs and weapon system diagnostics. His unorthodox tactics had proven effective, but he knew the aliens would adapt quickly. The Qatar were cunning and ruthless, and their losses here would only harden their resolve. In the days following the battle, Kalen was approached by diplomats and strategists eager to harness his bold style of combat for future engagements. Some admired his fearless, almost reckless approach. Others warned it might provoke greater dangers. Kalen listened but remained wary. He understood that surviving war was as much about knowing when to fight as when to hold back. As the hunter fleet set a course back to friendly space, Kalen took a moment to stare into the stars. The galaxy was changing. Humans had brought the Inferno, not just as a weapon but as a symbol of unyielding spirit and fierce independence. But with victory came new responsibilities and threats. News arrived that across the galaxy, other alien factions watched the battle's outcome with a mixture of fear and fascination. Whispers spread of humanity's fiery assault, sparking uneasy alliances and new conflicts. The Inferno had become a legend already. Kalen knew his role was far from over. The galaxy needed more than firepower. It needed leadership, vision, and the courage to face whatever shadows lurked beyond. The story closed with Kalen preparing for the next mission, eyes blazing with determination. The Inferno had been lit, but its flames would burn long and bright, shaping the future of interstellar war and peace.